starting the briefing on a pretty sad note. Yesterday, multiple gunmen opened fire during the Chiefs' Super Bowl parade in Kansas City, killing 2 innocent people and wounding more than 20, including several children. We pray for the families who lost loved ones, and we wish a speedy recovery to those who suffered injuries. Since this horrific shooting yesterday, the President has received regular updates from his team, and senior White House staff have been in touch with state and local leaders. We also thank both federal and local law enforcement and other first responders for springing into action to prevent the further loss of life. As President's statement said yesterday, the Super Bowl is the most unifying event in America. Nothing brings more of us together. For this celebration to be turned to tragedy yesterday in Kansas City cuts deep in the American souls. But the Kansas City shooting was not only the only deadly shooting in America yesterday. 3 police officers were shot in the line of duty in Washington, D.C., and another school shooting took place at Benjamin Mays High School in Atlanta. Yesterday also marked 6 years since Parkland, and Tuesday marked 1 year since the shooting at Michigan State University. We've now had more mass shootings in 2024 than there have been days in the year. Got to think about that one. Through executive action and implementation of the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the President has taken action to keep guns out of dangerous hands by expanding red flag laws, enhancing background checks, and cracking down on gun trafficking, while also making historic investment in violence prevention. But as we all know, it is not enough. Congress must act. Congress needs to act. And it is shameful that we have not seen more action on this. We need to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, require safe storage of guns, pass a national red flag law, enact universal background checks, and invest in proven solutions that reduce violence. We know these actions can save lives, and our communities literally can't afford to wait. Now, on another note, you saw an announcement today. We are excited to announce that President Biden will welcome President Duda, Prime Minister Tusk of Poland, to the White House on March 12th for a joint meeting. The meeting coincides with the 25th anniversary of Poland's accession to NATO and underscores the United States and Poland's ironclad commitment to the NATO alliance, which makes us all safer. They will discuss our support for Ukraine as well as the strong U.S.-Polish strategic energy security partnership, its robust economic relationship, and the United States and Poland's shared commitment to democratic values. And with that, I will turn it over to the Admiral, who's here to share some newly available information that has captured Washington's attention, as you all know. Admiral?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I know that Chairman Turner's letter to House members and his subsequent post on social media about a national security threat has prompted a lot of questions. While I am limited by how much I can share about the specific nature of the threat, I can confirm that it is related to an anti-satellite capability that Russia is developing. I want to be clear about a couple of things right off the bat. First, this is not an active capability that's been deployed. And though Russia's pursuit of this particular capability is troubling, there is no immediate threat to anyone's safety. We are not talking about a weapon that can be used to attack human beings or cause physical destruction here on Earth. That said, we've been closely monitoring this Russian activity, and we will continue to take it very seriously. President Biden has been kept fully informed and regularly informed by his national security team, including today. He has directed a series of initial actions, including additional briefings to congressional leaders, direct diplomatic engagement with Russia, with our allies and our partners as well, and with other countries around the world who have interests at stake. The intelligence community has serious concerns about a broad declassification of this intelligence. They also assess that starting with private engagement rather than immediately publicizing the intelligence could be a much more effective approach. We agree with that, which is consistent, of course, with the manner in which we have conducted downgrades of information in the past. This administration has put a lot of focus on doing that in a strategic way, a deliberate way, and in particular when it comes to Russia. And there's two things that we always do first when we consider about downgrades. One, we work with the intelligence community to conduct a thorough scrub of that intelligence to make sure that we are protecting sources and methods. And two, we sequence our private diplomacy with our public disclosure to ensure the maximum effect. In keeping with that approach, our National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, is meeting this afternoon with House leadership and committee chairs and rankers this afternoon to brief them on the latest intelligence and our analysis of it. And we will brief the Senate when they are back in session on the 25th of February. I'm not going to get ahead of those discussions. As I said, we make decisions about how and when to publicly disclose intelligence in a careful, deliberate, and strategic way, in a way that we choose. We're not going to be knocked off that process regardless of what, in this particular case, has found its way into the public domain. I can assure you that we will continue to keep members of Congress, as well as our international partners, and all of you and the American people, as fully informed as possible. Nothing is more important to President Biden than the safety and security of the American people. That's his top priority, and it's going to remain front and center as we continue to determine the best next steps. Now, if I could just briefly, I want to share a few words about the battlefield situation in Ukraine, where the fighting is incredibly intense in the east, particularly in a city called Avdiivka. It's a city that we've talked about several times before. Unfortunately, we're getting reports from the Ukrainians that the situation is critical, with the Russians continuing to press Ukrainian positions every single day. Avdiivka is at risk of falling into Russian control. In very large part, this is happening because the Ukrainian forces on the ground are running out of artillery ammunition. Russia is sending wave after wave of conscript forces to attack Ukrainian positions, and because Congress has yet to pass the supplemental bill, we've not been able to provide Ukraine with the artillery shells that they desperately need to disrupt these Russian assaults. Now, Russian forces are now reaching Ukrainian trenches actually in Avdiivka, and they're beginning to overwhelm Ukrainian defenses. The cost of inaction by the Congress is stark, and it's being borne on the shoulders of Ukrainian soldiers. We need Congress to pass the National Security Supplemental Bill without further delay. If House Republicans do not act soon, what is happening in Avdiivka right now could very well happen elsewhere along that front. So again, we need Congress to act right away. Questions?
Thank you. Addressing the matter that you addressed in your topper, can you address whether the United States has the capability to defend against the Russian anti-satellite system that they're developing?
I would tell you that this is still it's still a capability they're developing. We are still analyzing the information that's available to that. I would not speak definitively about our strategic deterrent capabilities one way or the other. We don't talk about that publicly. But we're taking this potential threat very, very seriously, and we are examining what the best next steps are and what our options might be. I want to reiterate, it is not an active capability, and it has not yet been deployed.